A brand new trailer just dropped for the Mega Dimension DLC for Pokemon Legends ZA, and it revealed a ton of crazy stuff. So in this video, I'm going to be going over everything that you need to know and may have missed. The first thing is that it dropped the release date for the DLC. It's coming out December 10th, which is in about a month from now, which is really exciting, so not too long of a wait. And in addition to that, another very interesting thing to note is that we are actually going to be getting another reveal of more information on November 19th, which is about 2 weeks away. So it feels like we're going to be eating pretty good between now and the release of the DLC, and then the DLC will be out and there'll be so much more of this game to enjoy. So we are in a good spot right now. As far as the details that were revealed in this new trailer, like I said, there are a bunch of really crazy ones. One of the most prominent ones, so you probably didn't miss it, but it still needs to be talked about, is the fact that in Hyperspace Lumiose, which is the main setting of the DLC, Pokemon can go past level 100. This has obviously been a staple as the max level in Pokemon games for literally the entire time of Pokemon's existence, 30 years, and now we are exceeding that. It seems like it is going to have kind of a special function, so it will be interesting to see how this operates once you get past level 100, but both the wild Pokemon and your own Pokemon, as it shows in the trailer, can go past level 100. So this is going to be pretty interesting to see. I imagine it'll probably stick to just Hyperspace Lumiose, and I assume you won't be able to bring your level 150 Pokemon back to normal Lumiose City. So again, it's going to be interesting to see how that works, but overall, that's just really cool and really exciting. We also got the reveal of 2 new Mega Evolutions, and in my opinion, they're both pretty cool. We got Mega Chimecho and we got Mega Baxcalibur, and I have some interesting things to say about them. First off, like I said, I think they're both pretty good designs. Mega Chimecho is really cool, and Mega Baxcalibur for me kind of redeems the Pokemon. I was a little disappointed by Baxcalibur initially, but this is kind of what I wanted from the actual design of Baxcalibur, so I think it's really cool and I'm loving it. One thing that you may have missed about Mega Chimecho is the fact that it is now Psychic Steel type, so it gets a type change, which is really cool. That's something people want to see with Megas, so that's a lot of fun. And then with Mega Baxcalibur, this is kind of just an observation, but the axe on its back kind of turns into a full-blown sword in the Mega, and if you look at the additional icy armor that is on the chest of Baxcalibur that is in line with like the hilt of the sword that is kind of going through its body, if you will, it's got basically what seems to be like a sword in the stone motif, especially because its name is Baxcalibur, which obviously comes from Excalibur, the famous sword. So with this kind of sword in the stone motif that Baxcalibur seems to have, and the fact that these Pokemon are Gen 9 Pokemon that directly followed up the UK Great Britain based Galar region, it kind of makes me wonder if these guys were like conceptualized or thought about or considered for Generation 8, but then were just like held back for Gen 9. Obviously that's a different tangent and I'm gonna not go too far into it here, but it just seems kind of interesting. It makes you wonder. As far as other details go for this DLC trailer, though, the Hyperspace Lumiose does indeed seem to be like a parallel version of Lumiose City. It seems like the original Lumiose City is even like hanging overhead in the sky, so it feels like the entirety of Lumiose City will be available in Hyperspace Lumiose in different pockets, and it feels like we will possibly be able to explore an entire alternate version of the map, which is pretty cool. Another interesting like change from the base Lumiose map, though, is that it seems to be a little more, I mean, it's a little weirder, it's a little funkier. You see things like Mega Crystals appearing in the Pokemon centers, wild Pokemon are appearing in the mall areas. So overall, it seems like this is a less hospitable place, a little less inhabited by people as well. So it's going to be interesting to see how that works. We do end up seeing what appear to be some trainers in Hyperspace Lumiose, but they're like hologram people. They're not actual people. So I'm going to be interested to see how the, I guess the human dynamic works in Hyperspace Lumiose. But yeah, definitely seems like an interesting place to explore. There is also something going on that's interesting with the whole Hoopa mechanic. It seems like we're going to be making Hoopa donuts, which is kind of silly, but that will allow us to go into Hyperspace Lumiose, which then ties into how long we can actually stay there, because there is a somewhat of a calorie system with the donuts, which seems to take the place of the day and night cycle in the normal Lumiose city, which basically seems to determine how long we will be able to stay in Hyperspace Lumiose before we have to go back, because the donuts are what are giving Hoopa the ability to open these portals. So kind of a silly, funny system, but that seems to be the way it's working, so that'll be interesting. And then we're going to be making donuts and gathering materials from Hyperspace Lumiose to make the donuts, to then explore new pockets of Hyperspace Lumiose, which overall I think is fun. It gives you some more incentive to explore, find items, that sort of thing, and you're kind of like crafting, so that's a cool thing. Speaking of Hoopa and the whole donut thing, though, this is all connected to a new character that was revealed called Ancha. And she is basically like a donut chef who is Hoopa's companion in this DLC. So it's kind of crazy that Hoopa effectively has a trainer and it's a little girl who's a donut chef. That comes out of left field. That's crazy. But what's even crazier is that's not even the craziest thing about this character. The trailer specifically mentions her and describes her as a mysterious little girl. And if you take a close look at her, she is like the spitting image of Diantha, who was the champion of the Kalos region from X and Y. They have the same color of hair, the same eyes. They basically have the same exact color palette as characters. So there is clearly a connection between Ancha and Diantha, and it's hard to say what that is at this point, but that is obviously extremely interesting, considering the fact that Diantha is once again the champion of the Kalos region. She did not appear in the base game, so she's obviously an important character, but is absent as of right now. Ancha seems to be her own character because she has her own name, so I don't think it's necessarily like a younger Diantha or anything like that. But again, is clearly connected to her. So there's probably going to be some story beats there. That's going to be really interesting to see. I can't wait to see what, if anything, is revealed about this, because obviously something's going on. Could it be her daughter or something like that? I don't know, but that is a really cool angle that I am really loving. So I am really excited to see that. On the note about the donuts, one more thing I do have to say is that it was revealed via the Legend ZA website that special donuts will also be able to be made for Groudon and Kyogre to, I assume, basically get into the pocket of Hyperspace Lumiose where they are going to be able to be found, and presumably to also gain access to their primal reversions, which is really cool. That's super awesome. Another thing that is also worth noting is the fact that this is kind of adjacent to the DLC, but there is a new side quest that is now available right now that you can go play right now and access at immediately for Diancie. You'll be able to get the Megastone for Diancie. That will unlock a side quest which will allow you to actually obtain Diancie within the game, which I absolutely love that they're doing a whole side quest with it, not just gifting it to us. I haven't played it yet because it just came out, but I am looking forward to seeing what that side quest is like. And one more thing I do have to mention, it's kind of a smaller detail, but I wanted to cover pretty much everything that I could see about these trailers to pass it on to you guys, is the fact that there seem to be these giant Pokeballs hanging out throughout Hyperspace Lumiose, and they seem to be part of the mission objectives for Hyperspace Lumiose, because there's a mention of needing to destroy them within the kind of UI of the game that we get a look at in the trailer. Once again, it seems like this is a smaller detail, not anything too consequential, but it seems like they will function as a part of the gameplay of this DLC and kind of how we go about things. So obviously this is something that wasn't in the base game, so it's going to be interesting to see how that ultimately pans out. And with that said, that kind of covers everything interesting and noteworthy that I noticed about this new information that I thought you may have missed. So if you enjoyed the video, be sure to leave a like. Let me know all your thoughts down in the comments below. Let me know how you feel about these new megas, and be sure to subscribe for more, because we're getting more new info in 2 weeks. There's going to be a bunch of content coming from me. It's going to be a fun time, so be sure to stick around. With that said, thank you so much for watching. I really, really appreciate it. Until the next one, as always, I will smell you guys later.